Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, it's a new announcement. Remember, we have our 3 year coming to an end. Now we have 1 year and a half. Ownership 2027, December 31st. You're going to have to get those assets that pay you while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're actually working to increase your asset count. That's going to be your number one priority over the next 1 year and a half. It's almost over, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say it again. Almost over. The rich are gathering up all the asset classes they can find, and they have the money to do it. And we're going to talk about this tonight. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you so much for being here. Even though on Friday night I'm already 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes late. So I want to thank anybody that watches this on the replay or who catches this on the live stream for being here this evening. Once again, we're about to be back on normal programming starting next week because we'll be back in the flow. Just so you know, I will not be late, or maybe just a few minutes, but not like these 20, 30, an hour laters. But nonetheless, thank you so much for being here. And once again, make sure you share and tell people to come check us out. First things first, some of you have heard me reference, we started 2 years, 7 months ago with a 3 year countdown by December 31st, 2026. Now we have another countdown, but the first countdown, you still need to take heed. 775 credit scores. You need to get there. Why? It's so you have an option to get 0% interest for up to 24 months right now. And I'm expecting 36 months in the next 2 or 3 months. So that's when you want to pounce because a lot of people are behind on credit cards or they have a lot of credit card debt. 0% would be great for 3 years. Keep that in mind. It's great for 2 years right now as well, or 21 months, whichever one you can find. But the point is, you want that 3 year when it comes out. And all the other ways that you're going to be able to take advantage with that credit score. We'll talk about that on another program, station, and time. But right now, I need everybody to say hello. Hit those like buttons, hit those heart buttons, hit the star buttons, hit the check box, whatever you got. Make sure you do that because starting probably in about a week, we'll be back on the regularly scheduled programming, but I'm starting it on Monday as well. I want you guys to really get into this. The second thing you need, out of the three, you're still going to need a bank account outside of the United States. Some of you don't travel outside the United States. So then what do? We tell you first thing, findhelp.org inside the United States. Why? Because that's where you have nonprofits that can help people like 70% of the people who don't have $1,000 in their bank account. You need help. And that's where you can go, American citizens. You put in your zip code, you see what there is out there for you to get help from. It could be caregiving. It could be simply bus passes or subway passes. It could be caregiving, as I've already mentioned, but there's nuances with caregiving. That also can be helped or taken care of depending on the nonprofit. And much more, because job training is always a good thing as well. Medical is always a good thing. Some of that is covered depending on who you are, your circumstances. So again, don't do anything else but tell people about findhelp.org. We got that from Matthew Lesko. So you can also go to letsgohelp.com. That's right, letsgohelp.com. It's his own private group that can help you get funding. And I shouldn't say funding, it's actually money, grants in their group. You can put in the chat room, hey, I'm in this city. I need this type of help. Does anybody know? He's got tens of thousands of people that can send you something within the next 15 minutes to an hour. I've seen it already. I'm in the group, ladies and gentlemen. It does cost, just so you understand. I think they used to charge $20 per month, but if you pay $50 or $60 for the year, that beats $20 a month, right? So go over there to Let's Go, Lesko help.com. And the other one, findhelp.org. Make sure you go check that out. Now, let me do something else before we get into this ownership 2027 that's mandatory. Let's get into something else because I still have to, even though we got to put in some comments, right? Got to let people know. Yeah, there it goes. I'm going to put it in the chat rooms. Everybody that's on other platforms, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, iHeart, all you guys, make sure you tell other people. You need a little mental health, then 211 on your phone, 211.org. You can call up. They're open 24 hours a day, just so you understand. Matthew Lesko was on. I called his bluff. He said, yeah, somebody will answer the phone right now. It was about 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern time. We did it live, picked up the phone, called, somebody answered. They actually put their organization in motion. They were saying, are you safe? Are you okay? We need to send somebody. They were doing all the things that you would normally do in the middle of the day. They were doing at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at night and trying to get help if help was actually needed. Quite impressive. So 211 also is another thing that can help people, so don't be left out. Now let's get back to the ownership parts, because the first things first, we started talking about bank account outside the United States was the third thing. Second thing, business or real estate outside the United States. Third thing that I started as the first thing, 775 credit score. That's what you need. You need to search for that. You need it by December 31st. As you can tell right now, things are about to go sideways, in my opinion. I've talked about this long ago. It was just a matter of time. And we have the person right now in office to make it go sideways, because he's doing everything that you should not do based on history in the United States. All you have to do is go back to 1920s, see what was happening, 1930, see what was happening, and then it kind of mirrors, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a recession, Great Depression type state. So therefore, we have no medical coverage. By the way, speaking of assets, your health is an asset as well, because if you're not going to have the money to pay for those medical bills, these medical bills are people's yearly salary. This is no longer a simple nonprofit hospital scenario that your grandparents got to grow up in, where you could go to the hospital and it was only 15 bucks. Them days are over as soon as we get into the 70s. Of course, you know, we have Kaiser. If you don't know the story, Kaiser and Tricky Dick got into bed when he was in California as the governor. So these type of things happen. They got it to for profit instead of non-profit. And we still don't have universal health care. We never will. And by the way, in case you don't know this stat, 32 countries are in NATO. 31 of the countries have universal health care. America is the only country out of the 32 NATO countries that does not have universal health care for its citizens. But we have bases all over the world, unlike them. Unlike them, we pay $1 trillion for our military machine. The other countries do not. They spend their money to help their citizens. So I want to let you know, you better be prepared, because your ownership for 2027, you have a year and a half to get to it. MDA 0214, also where life insurance comes in. You could say that. Long-term care, especially if you have any major illness, you can access the money for long-term care. Long-term care, just so you know, is something. Long-term care, though, falls under a different type of parameter. There's several different types of long-term care. There's ones that if you need to be at home and they send in caregivers, you have to sign up. Then they do cover it. They usually have a cap on it. It could be, let's say, $300,000 up to $300,000. So therefore, you get to choose how often somebody needs to stay or come. Otherwise, there's also a potential, depending on the long-term care you get, for hospital and things of this nature. But that only covers a certain level. He's correct. MDA0214, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings up life insurance. I'm glad he did, because that also is an asset that you have to pay for, though. But just remember, oftentimes insurance can have some sort of cash availability to it, loan availability. So there's several things. Insurance used to be way different when your grandparents were alive. Way, way different. It's, in fact, Walt Disney borrowed against his life insurance back in the day. The guy that was just a humble studio page, I believe they called it at the time, showing people around when they came into the studio or showing people around when they came into the movie theater. That's his humble beginnings. But he had life insurance. Hey, you know what? When you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, life insurance is so cheap. That's right. That matters. And seeing how his parents were smart to tell him about it when he was 18, 19, 20, he was putting money into a life insurance policy well before he was doing Disney World, creating Disneyland. So that is something that can be discussed. He's saying 90%. 90% is a high risk, man. That's high risk. I don't know, but in fact, somebody who has life insurance, if you're doing the 90% program, as they advised you on that, because that is something that I'm not going to talk about right now, because that's not part of the ownership, because I have to pay for life insurance, even though it does cover me down the line. That is true. But it all depends on how you're going to set it up. It depends on your age as well. The older you are, the higher the premiums. So you have choices. Let's just put it that way. And you have choices outside of that. But let's get down to the business at hand. Ownership 2027, 1 year, and about 5 months to go. You have your chances. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ownership at the SSN Nation, that's here, means you own something and you don't work. You reap the rewards. That means you have passive income coming in, not that you need to go work for it. Now, some people would say, well, you can't sit at home. You're going to have to participate somewhat. This is very true. So passive may not really be the appropriate words when you have assets, because you should pay attention to those assets. Whether it means you're working a little few minutes, an hour or 2 or 5 hours, you should be paying close attention to your assets, because we are in the asset taking business in the United States. You heard me correctly, the asset taking business. So you need asset protection business on your end. So whatever you do with assets, you should be thinking asset protection. That's number one. Before you get into the assets, you need protection. Protection, and I'm not referring to life insurance in case you pass away or die. What I'm referring to is protection. Structure it so you have protection, so you at least give it to your family members without making them have to hire lawyers would be best. Ownership. That's the bottom line. All right, let's go. What he's saying. No, you can access 90% if you need long-term care. I don't know what you mean, MDA. I don't know what you mean. You're not talking about cash advance, because on long-term care, you normally don't have the cash advance feature. Just so you know, it's so cheap. My aunt had long-term care for the last 20 years. And she only paid like I, I think it was $110 a month. So it wasn't, maybe it's something different than what you had, but she had true long-term, well, she had other insurances too. Uh, I mean, Medicare and TRICARE for life. So she had layers, but the long term was just in case she needed some other care, and then they capped it. This is something from the late 90s, and she only, like I said, only paid 110. So when she was at the house and getting, when they moved her into hospice, they that meant long-term care kicked in, Medicare kicked in, but whatever they didn't cover, TRICARE for life and all that, then she had her long-term care. And again, it was capped at a certain few $100,000. Just so you guys know, I saw her policy. I can't remember the company though. So we might be talking about two different things. But the point is, insurance is vast. That is something you can't just listen to one person. You're going to have to check it out because there are so many different service products or insurance products rather. So again, we need you guys to understand you need something that you own at this particular time. The rich people, the wealthy, they can buy up everything. I was checking and I just got something today that came up on my feed. And I saw that I think it was it Bill Ackman? Anyhow, somebody offered DistroKid. If you don't know what that is, that's where people, basically independent artists, oftentimes they release their music through DistroKid, and DistroKid acts kind of like a label distributor of music, and they really don't charge that much. You can have an annual fee, which is, starts off real small. It's just you. If you have a label, it's still pretty small. It's less than $100 a year, and they help you release your music, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. You still own your music, but the problem is, even though you own your music, which is good, you got to own your music. That's good ownership because anytime you release music and it's played anywhere in the world, you get a check. However big or small it is, depends on how popular it is. But the only way you can generally get popular in today's environment, you have to be on social medias, you have to be out there on Amazon Music, Apple, iTunes, all these different ways that people could find you if you're unknown. Because if you're unknown, it's harder. If you're on a label, they pay money to put your playlist or your songs up where people can find it. All right. So just keep that in mind. There's no level playing field. This is billions of dollars on the line. You think they're going to let some small person, independent type person, routinely beat out the artist that they had to pay tens of millions of dollars to, and then they got to recoup the money? No, this is not how it works. But I'll stay with the music thing because I heard DistroKid valuation of $2 billion. So the question is, why would rich guys want to buy DistroKid? Well, because it has to do with eternal money supply. Because as long as you have music, as long as you have people who want to be in music and get their music out, you can charge people for all kind of different things on top of their annual fee. So apparently they got almost double the amount offer wise. I don't know if they accepted it or whatever's going down, but the valuation is $2 billion. The problem is this: that is not, who's buying it is not a record industry. It's not the label. It's not anybody. It's a VC, venture capitalist. That's who's buying it. That means they're going to extract money from it, meaning there's money to be made, more than a lot. They're going to make back their money in 5-6 years, $2 billion plus, if that's what it sells for. That's what it's slated for. Now, the other thing is that these guys offered $64 billion, which is very interesting. for another industry business of music. So all of a sudden, these investors who usually invest on Wall Street and the corporations and to banks and to tech industries and things like this, all of a sudden, they want to hold music. They want to hold masters. They understand that this is a continual revenue stream for eternity. And this is also why Michael Jackson did a slick move and had 50% of the Sony ATV catalog. And once he did that, made it a secret, then he had problems the rest of his life. His family apparently sold it, his 50% share, to his estate for $700 million about 10 years ago. $700 million for his half of the Sony ATV. And by the way, that Sony ATV, now owned in whole 100% by them, what can I tell you? It's worth a hell of a lot more now than it was in 2016. All right? But that Sony ATV has it locked up. Now, they didn't get his other masters in publishing, so that means there's still other monies coming into the Jackson estate. But after you have 700 million, that's generations. You can't spend it all even for 5 or 6 generations. All right, let's go. Asset insurance is cash reserves. Cash helps your assets survive during tough times. Yes, that's one policy. Again, I understand where you're going with this, but I don't think it's that cut and dry and that easy, in my opinion, about this insurance. I'll just keep saying it. Luckily, there's so many different ways you can do insurance that I'm sure there's something that meets criteria, but the older you are, the more the insurance costs. So that's a thing. Then they say, no, that's not going to be a thing. Then you have to give up something else. So if people think that they're going to all of a sudden somehow start out and have $200,000 or $300,000 in an insurance policy that they're going to be able to borrow against or take, it's your own money anyhow, which is my own first thing. It's your own money, so you could have done it anyhow. But nonetheless, double insurance, having insurance based on if you pass away unexpectedly, which, by the way, health is wealth, like I've already mentioned. So therefore, you have to own your wealth with health in mind. Your ownership begins with your health. You have to invest in your health. Otherwise, you're going to live like the average of most people. Well, you guys aren't going to like it, but let's just give you the real details. If you live in a red state, you're going to live 10 years lesser than a person that lives in a blue state. There's a reason. It's very simple. It's because of the medical coverages and things that blue states tend to do, and allow people, instead of having people fend for themselves, they're willing to pay for people instead of kick them out of the hospitals and things like this. So, yeah, that's a thing, which is crazy. 10 years difference. That's crazy. So the average age is 78, but if you born, raised, stay in a red state, the potential for you to die somewhere between 68 and 70 is pretty good. Versus somebody else in a blue state, the average age in America is 78. So just letting you know. So now they're changing Social Security to 70. It's coming. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 70. So Social Security is not a thing. Let's just call it what it is. That's not a thing. 70% of these people are going to be dead by the time 70 years old rolls around. So unless, of course, they spent money, ownership of their body, mind, soul, and peace of mind goes a long way. Just so you know, eating the right foods go a long way. Let's get back to ownership, though, because, again, you need to own tech product. Anything that can help make a person's life easier, you should do. Today, I'm watching on social media, up popped this thing called the Dot. I've heard of this Dot thing that actually a person scans it. It had a QR code before, it scans it. They were talking about a bracelet. I couldn't believe it. They had a bracelet that can tap your phone, and then that gives all your social media, all of your whatever you put on there. Could be your phone number, email address, social media platforms, what you do, and all this. It's like a business card on steroids. That little bracelet made of silicone or something, they're charging $30, which is very, very interesting. Because I was thinking, I'm like, couldn't you just do a QR code scenario and not have to do that? But okay, they got a little nice thing going on, it appears. But again, that makes things easier for people that want to, hey, what do you do? Let me get your phone number. No, just scan my bracelet right here. It gives you the info. Tap, go. You got it. That is easier, I have to admit. Pretty smart. That's ownership as well. So I don't know how their configuration is for the company, but all I'm saying is they got ownership. They made something. That software means something. That software that made that it can now be licensed to other people, so other people can still use the dot, and they could charge them or license it to some people, another company, if they wanted to make additional revenue. So all these things come to pass sooner or later. So that's why ownership 2027 by December 31st, you guys got to be on it. If you have the skill set, you can write books. You own it. Put it on audio files on Amazon. You can make money from that. Again, it's wide open, but you should own something. Write a book, own it, self-publish. You're going to need to own something because the field is going to be awfully crowded since AI can do everything. It's going to be automated. You're going to be automated. You gave up on trading. Yeah, trading is not really an asset, although the asset portion of trading is, if you get very good at it, then it becomes an asset. All right, so that's cool. But yes, I had to stop trading because I was dealing with my aunt so much and still dealing with family. And I had no time to be on the computer in the middle of the day when I'm going down to the hospital, and I'm not trading on my phone. I never felt comfortable, never did that. And I wouldn't have been trading anyhow. And remember, I'm on the East Coast. On the West Coast. So since I'm on the West Coast, everything's blocked stops earlier. So when it's 2 here, it's already over trading day. So, and I'm doing stuff with my aunt in the morning time. So I'm not watching stocks. So that's why I stopped doing stocks myself. Stocks are pretty standard. We were talking about stocks for a lot when we were talking about trading for 9 months, 8 months, 7 months, somewhere in there. That's a long time. And so hopefully people might have gotten the Candlestick Trading Bible. You can go and did I put the link in here already? Nope, didn't put it in there, but we will. Hold on a second. I forgot. I have something else going on another screen. We will put in Candlestick Trading Bible just in case you want to learn. That is another trait, but it's very hard. So I will just tell it like it is. 95% of first-time traders lose money. And still, after people learn how to trade, it's still that high. Just so you understand. This is why there's a lot of people who sell things with, what is that? What is that? Okay, all right. No, we can't do that. They sell things like courses for trading and things like that because it is very, very risky. People also do those, the trader accounts as well, where they get funded accounts. People do that. Not mad at anybody because it is high risk, high rewards. But that's not what we're talking about today. Even though you could do something with it, again, it's high risk, high rewards, and it is worth learning because trading will never stop. The stock market's always going to be around. And if it's not going to be around, then USA is over. It's simple as that. So and if you're in other countries, yeah, you can trade on the Chinese market, you can trade on the Australian market, the EU markets, the countries, the Spanish stock exchange, you can the UK stock exchange, either way, you can do all that. So that gives you worldwide, any time of day, pretty much you can do stock market trading. So that's always good if you know how to do it. That would be an asset. Is it ownership? It's ownership of your time, but it does take time to trade as well. But again, that's not the ownership we're talking about here. Ownership means you own a bona fide asset. And if you are out here writing apps, that source code, your GitHub repository, those are assets, right? You manufacture something and you have a manufacturing process that nobody else has. You should spend the money and patent it. 400 bucks? I mean, come on. Might cost you a little for an attorney though, but the point is, that would be a patent pending at first, then a patent. That's a thing. Trademarks, if you need a trademark for your business to protect your name or logo, things like that, 300 and some odd dollars well spent. Those are assets. Domain names, assets, especially when you have multiple of them. So you have a business or two or three or four. So you could potentially have 8, 9, 10 different domain names combined under a company structure. That's ownership. You have a company structure, meaning you have a holding company, you have subsidiaries. That means each company, well, the subsidiaries, the two subsidiaries in this example, that's ownership by your holding company, ownership by you, because you should be either president, CEO, authorized person for the company. So again, these are the type of things that creates ownership, because those websites now mean something in overall evaluations, which most people gloss over. So I'm just letting you know, all that you own is ownership. That matters. Now, what you do after that is also going to matter, but at least you have an ownership structure. So again, let's start back down. You write books, you can do it. Everybody has a story. You just never know what somebody will like. You can put it online. Let somebody read it. Or, I mean, let AI read it for you. Just saying. AI is not intellectual property. AI is nothing. Since it's not human made, that means it's open to everybody. So if you use AI, you post it up, that is not ownership. Anybody can copy it. The only thing, though, that they cannot copy is any other underlying asset that goes with it. So if somebody writes a book, puts it on the audio files, audio on demand, Audible, I believe, is one of the company names, and then somebody tells AI to make a video using the story, AI makes the video. But that person, if they go and post it everywhere, saying, look what I did, that story, that Audible story, copywritten, that means they can't do that. So in other words, they can erase the mute or erase the audio part, but can always play the AI video, because AI video is nothing. You can't copyright it. You can't trademark it. You can't. It's not intellectual property. So that is how that's going to work. So therefore, you don't have to worry. As long as you own copyright, do what you got to do so you get paid if people start playing or you put it on platforms. That's another ownership item. Ownership. All right? Giving up your rights to, say, a publisher, for instance. A publisher says, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to help you out. But see, we had to send our sales guys over to, who knows, France, Monaco, because we were thinking it was going to be turned into a movie or a TV series or something like this, right? So we're going to charge you money. See, all these things add up. So you got to be sure that you understand you want to own the asset. You don't want to let somebody else leverage it. That you don't want to take money, so you give them the rights to it. You want to make sure you try to keep the bulk, if not 100% of the rights, at least something. You're not going to give them everything, because then that means they're going to be Sony ATV in this example. All right. They own the catalog. They own the rights. They keep stacking it up. They have thousands of works. Those thousands of works are worth something. That's what people do not understand. Just like people do not understand when we're watching these videos on our YouTube feeds or TikTok feeds, and you see advertisements on X and Instagram and everywhere you go, there's ads. You do realize somebody's making money from this, right? Most people aren't paying attention. The ownership is the people that can place the ads. They have the software. They know how to do it. Some of you may see these Paramount ads, these Roku ads, all that stuff, right? That is another place where they're making money because somebody's paying them. The advertisers are paying them to place them. They take a cut. That's right. They're the middleman. So the advertisers could give them $100,000 for 2 weeks worth of run. But then they turn around and tell the platform, oh, you're just going to get $7 per 1,000 people that see this. CPM. It's a win-win because the platform gets $7 for every 1,000 people that sees this. And the Roku ads guy, the Paramount ads guys, and all them guys win because they're like, well, we charge these dudes $100,000 and we're only giving up $7 per 1,000 that sees this. And now we're going to have some stats that we can look at and see if it's worth it and give them the information and say, see, look, 10 million people saw this. And look, they clicked on this stuff. So you actually have a trackable event that you can show that it worked. And so therefore, they own the pipeline. And they're nothing more than middlemen. But they own it. They own the software. They don't have to share with nobody other than making it happen so they continue to get hundreds of thousands of dollars from the likes of, everybody knows Nike, everybody knows McDonald's, everybody knows Coca-Cola, all these companies, right? Tens of thousands per month they get by being ad facilitators. Just think about that, because they have the software. And that software is intellectual property. Software is going to have trademarks. It's going to be that thing. So again, ownership, ladies and gentlemen, means you get to make money while you are sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're gone. All right, let's go. Let me know what you guys are thinking so far. Pretty cool, right? This is what you're going to have to do. Bugs v. Bugs, I see you. Thank you so much for being in the house. I like that. I like it. Okay, we got CoinX. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I put something in there I didn't want to. But oh, well. Nice to see you, man. Appreciate it. But ownership 2027, you have a countdown. Because all the rich guys, like I've already mentioned, they're out here hunting. They are trying to get anything that generates revenue. That's what they're doing. The easiest stuff to do is what you do right now on your phone. They're all looking to get themselves in position, whether it's another social media platform, right? Whether it's another imitation of Facebook, whether it's another imitation of TikTok, whether it's another vertical streaming software somehow, because they know two things. They own the software. They can sometimes they come do innovations, so they might have a patent. Some people might have a trademark. They should, because they got to trademark their name or logo. So again, These are the type of things that go down. They own it. And that means any money that comes into that platform or any people use software, like in your Apple iPhones, Google iPhones, you're using software when you download somebody's app. Because you have an iPhone, you downloaded the app. Apple and Google gets to charge 30% of every transaction. Okay? We've talked about this before. Because you went to their stores, the Google's Play Store or Apple Play Store, you downloaded somebody's app, and there you go. They're taking 30% from every transaction from every app. They have thousands of them. Ownership. Do you get it? But get this. So now there's an app store that you go to. It's not in the Apple iStore. It's just a person you ran into. Go to our website, go to this or go wherever, download our app. Okay, fair enough. But if you have an Apple phone, you didn't download it from the Apple iStore, Apple Play Store, but because you have web crawlers on your Apple phone, the Apple phone recognizes that that's not from their app store, this app. But it still goes on their app, their software, and starts spying and finds out, oh, wait a minute, how much did they make? Oh, they made $1 million? Cool. We need to send them, no, not a cease and desist. I know you were thinking that, right? No, they don't do that. They just go, wait a minute, you guys made $1 million. They send an invoice saying we need 5%. We need 10%, 5% most of the time. We need our 5%. And the person automatically responds with, what are you talking about? Why? And they actually have a point. They say, oh, it's because you used our software to download the app. And that's our software. When they're on our phones, that's our software going through your app. So therefore, we charge you 5%. Guess what? They're going to get it. I know. Ownership of the software in the phone gives them another way to charge people. Can you believe it? This is why these tech companies, this is why the rich guys own a lot of stuff that has to do with software, techs, and that's why they're valued at what they're valued at. Because when somebody uses your stuff, you can charge them. That's crazy, right? Welcome to America. So again, ladies and gentlemen, ownership 2027, you better get on the game because otherwise you're going to be left with holding the bag. And the holding the bag means you don't have the assets that's going to pay you. Meanwhile, you're going to have only a few people owning the assets. In fact, let me go do something else. I can't go into my email to go get the information that you guys, we also like to do PSAs because you never know what's going to happen. Let me go see something. I wanted to check this just to be sure because I was reading so much stuff, so I might have cross-referenced. Check this out. Let me go get 64. Let's see if it was. Yeah, 64 billion. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go see if that's what it was because I might have crossed over. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, Bill Ackman, he actually offered $64 billion to acquire Universal Music Group, not DistroKid. All right. Ackman offered roughly $35 per share, valuing the world's largest music label at $64.4 billion. Okay, I don't know. Oh, the deal ultimately fell apart for major reasons. Board rejection. Of course they did. Do you understand? Just like I told you, ownership. They own all of this music. Universal. That means they have money coming in every month, every minute, every second of the day. Of course, the board's going to say, sorry, hell no, we're not selling it for 64 billion. Try 300 billion or something, but 64 will not cut it. All right. So now back to DistroKid. DistroKid, $2 billion. So if it wasn't Ackman, who was it? Let's go. Oh, I know who it was. It was some capital group, an investment company. That's who it was. I'm going to put it in right now. That's where it goes. Okay, so we got that right because I knew something was weird. I had to, because I was checking out both of these today. I was like, this is unbelievable. The amount of money these people are spending on music. That should scare everybody. That's ownership, though. Those masters, the publishing, the sync licensing mean what they rent to the, or lease or charge to movie makers or commercials. That's crazy. Yeah, here, I'll get you the name because it's like 3 letters capital. It was 2 words capital. I just can't remember what the name was. But it'll come up in a second. Offered, apparently the valuation is $2 billion. Here we go. CVC Capital Partners. That was it. July 6th, ladies and gentlemen. July 6, 2026, 4 days ago. And they manage 250 billion in assets. Notice they manage assets, take a cut. They have assets under management of 250 billion. So I think 2 billion to get the world's largest label, I think is worth it. And in fact, I know it is because otherwise they would have never offered that amount. So clearly they know what that means. All right. Now they call it a private equity company, but that's fine. Whatever. The private equity guys are buying this stuff because they know the value of ownership and it's repetitive. Post-retirement travel, another investors in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Speaking of ownership, that's what he does too. And he brings his tagline, hello all, let's do this. That's what he does out here. And also, thank you so much. I humbly appreciate that you're a member of the channel after all these years. I appreciate your support, so thank you so much. All right. How about that stock market? Backed up the truck Monday, and we're doing the salsa dance today. Love those red days. I have no idea about those. I will not be knowing about the stock market until next week. I'll be back into a groove in the stock market and all that, but not right now. Just so you guys understand, we had a very little twist. My aunt did the right thing. Remember I told you guys about having a trust? She has a trust. She named a trustee. Come to find out, rightfully or wrongly, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but anyhow, my uncle is not the trustee. And of course, he's older. I mean, he's like 89. He's going to be 90 in a few months. So he should not be trustee. But unfortunately, she put down my aunt, who's same age as her and my uncle pretty much. And she's not doing too well. So that meant they had to go see an attorney, is the first words I heard. I was like, oh, that was not the right proper move in my opinion, but hey, everybody can go see an attorney. So they're going to go through an attorney, which means even though it's a trust, because she's elderly and the kids and everything, they're going to go through that. I have a policy. I don't really like lawyers knowing how much you have at stake. Because funny thing, their fees go up when they realize somebody has some money that they could use themselves by charging a lot more than they should. But that's where we're at. That's where it's going to go. So I'm no longer needed, and my uncle doesn't have the burden of having to deal with that because there's a lot of moving parts to it. And him not having to do it is real good, quite frankly. So we're back to normal programming after 9 months. Just so you guys get an idea. We'll be back. More videos, more stuff, just like old times. I'll add. I was going into retirement mode. Remember, retirement mode, was it this year or next year? Anyhow, it's probably this year. But I can't because we have some ass to kick, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't over. I still haven't resolved the issue that I need to resolve regarding when we're about to kick some ass. Don't need liabilities. That's still not resolved yet. So we'll figure that out later. But right now, we got to get you guys on the ownership program for 2027 by December 31st. You got to own stocks. This is true. That's part of it. Ownership of stocks, post-retirement travel, backed up the truck. This week, I guess it's been going great. So again, I've been missing out. Well, yeah, I've been missing out because I could actually be doing stock trading and making more money, but I've been missing out. But I won't be missing out starting, like I said, next week I'll start paying attention. 3 weeks, I'll probably start doing some things. All right. All right. So you guys are going to miss my birthday coming up. Yep. That's going to be on Tuesday. So I'll be out having all kind of fun, and you guys will hear all about it on Wednesday. All right, let's go. Okay. Tamara Larry, another investor's in the house. She's hearing the words ownership 2027. It's mandatory. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And once again, like I mentioned, she's an investor, always hunting, and in the house. She brings her tagline, hello all, right on. Hello all to you. Tell the young guns, I hope they're doing well. And remember, tell them they need ownership. All right, let's get with the program. Damn, Eric, you can write a book about the do's and don'ts of wills versus trust. You could do a video on your recent experience. You got that right, man. You got that exactly right. By the way, speaking of that, we talked about trust and wills and things like that, right? So here's what happens. My aunt does everything perfectly. The playbook is perfect. The trust says percentages going to X, Y, Z. It's beautifully written. It lines everything out. The one thing it didn't line out was the bank account. Where's this monies, or where are these monies? This is going to be very interesting. Now, I will say this again. She's always on point. And if you have a trust and you want to leave money, then you know what you should do. You have to say the beneficiary at your bank, at your brokerage, wherever monies you have anywhere, the beneficiary should be your trust. It makes things simple. You don't need an attorney for this. You didn't need anybody, because the bank, once they get the death certificate, they issue the trust the money. And then the trustee is supposed to give the money according to the trust. Pretty simple. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, we're not privy to the bank accounts because nobody will know until the trustee finds out. And my aunt had several bank accounts. So that's what's going to happen. And now that you have a lawyer involved, because you're going to have to unlock those bank accounts, because you're going to need an attorney more than likely. My aunt doesn't even live in the same state. So this is going to be a long distance endeavor. And is it going to take 9 months, 12 months, or 2 years? Who knows? But I'm not part of this equation. So I get to go do some other stuff. Streamer academics went deep into that topic. They're supposed to sign Drake for $1 billion to use him to sell Universal. MDA0214. I like the word you are using. Use him. Exactly. I don't know about the 1 billion. I mean, academics going overboard with the 1 billion. That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. I would be highly shocked, because you understand that 1 billion would be recoupable. And I highly doubt it unless there was leverage, because Drake dropped like 2 or 3 albums. He dropped Iceman, and then he dropped another album or something. so he can get out of his deal. I was like, oh, I like it. He realizes owners. Now, here's the question though. The reason why would Drake not sign with Universal? Well, there's a reason. Because Universal, Warner Brothers, and Capitol, all these guys, they get to tell radios and streaming services to place their artists and their artist playlist in higher positions, cross over into other genres of music. So there's all kinds of tricks that they do. So you might go, hey, why is, I'll use Drake as an example because I don't even know, why is Drake doing a song with a guy that plays country music, pop music? You know why? Because when they do that, they legitimately get to press upon these Spotify's and the Amazon Music and the iTunes. Hey guys, he's got a song on the pop charts and the country charts. His playlist, all of his playlists should be on that too. So now you have fans that never even heard of him because it's a different genre, but yet they see it with their genre. And then that's part of what MDA is talking about. They use that because now they created more value because you're crossing over into other people who don't even know who Drake is, if that's possible. And they see their favorite musician singing with him. So they think, oh, let's just check this guy out. But then they find out he's in a different type genre. But guess what? Those streams count. Just saying. That nice little trick. So that's what they do. So again, they have many, many tricks that they use to make sure they keep the money. They're not going to let some independent guy like E. Bird show up. E. Bird and his band, oh, we're badass. We got a little following. But no, we're not going to let these guys get anywhere near the charts because if they get some steam, we don't own them. Ownership. We don't own them. They own all their music. We don't have any recoupables. We don't have their masters. We don't have their publishing. They didn't use our studio producer, all this stuff. So we can't let them guys get hot. Sure, it's going to happen. It's the internet. But they generally try to make sure their industry plants stay up top, get all over on crossing over genres while they're keeping the other people who aren't under them blocked or suppressed. So again, they can do this because they own the masters, they own the publishing. They tell Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, hey, if you don't put us up there, we're going to take off Taylor Swift. We'll take off Kanye. You're not going to be allowed to have them on your platform. We own it. We own our masters. We own the publishing. We own the sync licensing. So therefore, we ain't going to give it to you so you can't play it. You will have to take it all down. Who's going to come to your spot when you don't have the hottest artist? We own all of their stuff. So you better play ball and make sure our guys are up there on the playlist and suppress the other guys. We're not going to block them entirely. We're just saying suppress them so our guys show up first. You see how this works, ladies and gentlemen, because they own everything, ladies and gentlemen. All right, post-retirement travel. For bank accounts, all you have to do is make it a joint account, right? Yes, that would be nice. That way the other person can access the money. Yes, that would be nice. Just saying. But the point is, if you make a trust, though, post-retirement travel, you need to fund the trust when you start telling, hey, give this person 48%, give this person 7%, give these guys 1% for nonprofit organizations. So then you need the money, but it's didn't name in a bank account. So now you're hoping, I'm pretty sure it does. We'll find out if I'm correct in a few months or sooner, but that's, I think the beneficiary is going to be the trust. So it automatically gets sent to the trust account. So it's all over but the shouting at that point because there's nothing else that needs to be done other than the trustee just has to disperse according to the trust. It makes it nice and simple. That better be it. is what I'm going to say. If you guys do an irrevocable trust and you're going to have to, you want to fund the trust so there's money, you better have provisions for it. And one way is I would always recommend the beneficiary part because that just transfers without anybody doing anything automatically. As long as they showed the death certificate, then that triggers the beneficiary. Beneficiary gets the money. The trustee gets the money because they're the trustee of the beneficiary's account, which in this case should be the trust. So they just stack it into the trust account, and then after it's all said and done, out of all the accounts, then you say, okay, this person's supposed to get 7, this person's supposed to get 1, this person, whatever. Makes it nice and simple. I'm pretty sure that's how she did it. I'd be totally shocked if that wasn't the case. And that makes things nice and easy. Nobody has any dispute over anything. It's right there in black and white. Here's the statement from last month. That's the money in the account. We're supposed to disperse it accordingly. Simple. Everybody's happy. I like it. All right. Look who else is in the house. Another investor's in the house. Mr. Dividend has arrived. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings up his tagline. Happy day, Eric. Thank you. I hope all is well with you. Yes, it is. I'm breathing. I'm alive. And it's a good day. And the family. It's all good. Happy day, SSN family. Smash that like button. Thank you so much for that. I almost forgot myself. I said it at the beginning, but I haven't said it in the last 20, 30 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Bugs be bugs. Let me know you got anything to say, man. I know you're ownership. Come on now. Ownership 2027 is what we're talking about tonight in case you just now joined us, because you're going to have to get an asset that pays you, and that means you better get into ownership. And I'm not talking about buying a house. That's not ownership. I'm not talking about buying a car. That's not ownership. We're talking about ownership, meaning you own something that you can charge people for or license or receive money every month or every week, every day. That's what we're talking about. Things that most people don't think about when you start thinking of ownership. People think of, I'm going to own an LLC. That's not actually what we're talking about. We're talking about products, services that you can charge people for or license or lease continuously. While you're sleeping, they're paying you. Or you actually own it outright, like in the example of software. And therefore, you get money for every transaction that goes across your platform, like a PayPal. Simple analogy. Like when you're doing your merchant account. Every transaction, they get paid. Ownership, ladies and gentlemen. Are you getting the picture, I hope? That's what you're going to need to do. Concentrate on that until 2027, December 31st, 2027. So we have a 1 year and 5 month new goal. It's all good. But in the meantime, don't let the other one fool you either. You need that 775 credit score by the December 31st, 2026 deadline. You need a bank account outside the United States. And speaking of bank accounts, Bankus. You can now download the app. They have special cards now. They have, it's off the charts now. These guys are starting to expand. If you still haven't downloaded your Bankus and purchased your Bankus card, I suggest you do so, because it is not a crypto exchange, but you can turn your crypto into money via a debit card with the Visa logo. Let me see if I have the new one. Let's see if I have the new one on me. I see something blue in here. Let me see if it's the right one. I got too many blues, but this is the right one. This is the Bankus logo. This is their new card, ladies and gentlemen. People are out here happy because the app is no longer under maintenance. And people are happy because you can make some money by referring other people to buy the card. And now they have specialty cards. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of control because now people all over the world can get this and send their crypto down to the card. That's an endpoint. It's not an exchange. All right. It's just like a prepaid card. And there's more to this. You refer people, you can make money. A couple, 3 levels down, that's it for that. But every time somebody uploads the card that used the link to download, you get money. So everybody out there, you should see in the chat, wherever you're watching from, no, that's not it. That's twice. How did that happen? Okay, I'm not liking that. That's weird. I could have sworn, oh, I didn't. I did it twice. So we still haven't, we don't have Bankus on here. That's weird. I didn't want to do that. That's bad. Because that actually had the gold. Don't disregard that gold bot trading thing. That's an old link. I mean, it still works, but disregard it. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. So here goes the Bankus app. This is how you download. Now, here's the thing about Bankus. It's in Mexico City, which is even better. It's outside the United States, so it meets the double twisted criteria that I have, not inside the broke USA. And by the way, Mexico just started universal health care for their citizens. Oh my. Mexico. Man, I'm going to say it again. Mexico started universal health care today for their citizens. Remember, a lot of people feel like third world country and all. They have universal health care. Just saying, America does not. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. Your wealth, your health is wealth. And they're trying to block it. Okay, I put the Bankus stuff on there twice, 3 times. You guys should see it on all different types of platforms. Make sure you guys please use my link to download because there's more to it. If people have the Bankus app and another person has Bankus app, you can send each other money. They give you a virtual card. So therefore, if you have Apple Pay and Google, you can tie your virtual card to it, and therefore you would never have to order the plastic card for $50, that's shipped, or the metal card for $100, that's shipped. Now they have a 250 anniversary edition card. They've got all kind of cards now. A goldish card. They do cost more though. Those are specialized, right? So they're moving on up. They're making things happen. They have contests also for Mexico, for people that sign up people, true to form, networking type marketing. But like I said, it's only like 3 levels deep or something. So it's not like a major thing, but people can refer other people. People upload the money. You get like 1%, something of that nature. So that's not bad. At least you get a little something if people load their card. You also get something when you refer people and they buy a plastic card for $50, or they buy a metal card for $100, or those specialty cards for $150. But nonetheless, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That gives you something that's outside of the purview of the United States government, which again, $40 trillion in debt. Sooner or later, they're going to have to raid somebody's bank accounts. They're going to have to raid somebody's brokerage accounts. Just saying. Sooner or later. All right. Let's go. Let's see what else we got going on here. Ownership of the day. Anybody have any questions, really? This is very simple. You're going to have to go outside of the box. If you just work for somebody else and you think that's going to be good enough where they're calling you in right now, have your group meeting and all that, you can just kiss that goodbye in about a year and a half, 2 years max, because AI is just going to tell them we don't need to have 5, 6, 4 people sitting in a little room talking and discussing things when you can just ask the question and then tell AI to give me all the options. I mean, that's all your research is going to do anyhow. And then you might not even calculate it according to how they're going to line things up, because they have a much broader spectrum to get information from, as in the whole world. So again, this is why people who are very smart are going to be in trouble. People who aren't smart are going to be in trouble. Because if you don't have ownership, then you're not going to be able to get paid properly. Because if you think that they're going to be paying people $100,000 to work in a regular job, $200,000, that's not going to be a thing. Definitely. We already have Amazon running robots out here. Okay. I'm talking about their warehouses where they used to hire people. Now they're not hiring people because their robots are in there 24/7, being able to load and deliver. This is crazy what's happening. So this is scary. So I can't check my emails, man. Yeah, I'm blocked. I can't log in. Actually, it might. I wonder if I paid the bill or something. I don't know. I don't think it's that. I would have got a notice. Yeah, I can't log into the email. There was something that you sent me that I thought was crazy. I saw the headlines and I was like, oh, I got to talk about this. But I can't remember what it was. Let's see if I get an Outlook here. No, I got SEPN, no. That's weird. Let's see if I got it. Oh, we might be able to. Hold up. Let's see what we got. We might have some hope. I just can't add it on the. Wait a minute. We do have. Is this for real right now? We do have some hope. Okay. We do. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I got you. I got you. Yes, Brian P. Yes. Oh, why you give me this? U.S. to drop charges for alleged $722 million crypto fraudster. Looks like another criminal gets off the hook. And it looks like American citizens who got ripped off are effed again by your man Trump. Unbelievable. 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 722 million crypto fraudster. U.S. drops charges. I guess he paid for his freedom. Jeez, it's the Bitcoin ATM guys? Oh, man. Oh, Justice Department leaders plan to drop charges against the alleged mastermind of a cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme that prosecutors said defrauded investors $722 million. Reversing course on a 2019 indictment that was nearing trial. God. The reprieve for a Colorado man. Once described his model as built on the backs of idiots, comes during President Trump's retreat on crypto industry. Matthew Gotcha created and operated advanced crypto mining operation BitClub Network that rewarded investors for recruiting new members. They'd reach an agreement in principle to resolve the pending charges. Oh, wow. 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 This is crazy. This is insanity. This is in 2019. Yeah, Bitcoin Network. Oh, they have 3 people. A guy named Sinclair Weeks, a guy named Frank Abel. 3 people were arrested. So I guess all 3 get off. That ripped off American citizens. And no restitution coming. Wow. Sickening, man. Sickening, sickening, sickening. This is who we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Even though they showed the Bitcoin ATM, there it is. This is crazy. This is insane. This is another person that stole hundreds of millions of dollars from American citizens that this administration has actually pardoned or dropped charges on, like the guy from Binance also got his charges dropped. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Circle stock pops after stablecoin issuer wins approval to establish a trust. Are we serious right now? Are we serious right now? Are we serious right now? Okay, I I guess they get to create a bank. Ownership, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see how this is going down? This is insanity right now. Circle stock surged 4% on Friday. Circle said it received regulatory approval to establish its own national trust bank, reducing its reliance on outside banks. Wow. Unbelievable. So we're going to have a crypto bank inside of America. Whoo. What could go wrong? I don't know. That $722 million fraud. Oh my goodness. This is insanity. Well, congratulations to them. Backing Circle's flagship stablecoin USDC. With this new trust bank charter, Circle will be able to eventually hold these multi-billion-dollar reserves under its own federally regulated custody. You guys do understand. What reserves? What are we talking about? There is no reserves anymore. It used to be. They're not even doing, for every $1 or every $10, they keep one. They drop that. So you can understand that it's going to be a little uneasy to have a company that has hundreds of millions of dollars and they don't have to keep any of it in their bank. What could go wrong? Yikes. How do you use that debit card? Just regular, man. You have to have it loaded, though, or people, if you sign people up, they have to load, then you'll have money in your account. But you load it, just works, you have a PIN number, and just like any old Visa card or debit card transaction. Just like your bank, ATM card, same thing. A prepaid card, same thing. You pay everything with it and pay it in full at the end of the month. It's not a credit card. It's a prepaid card is basically what it is, but you load it with crypto. So some of you who do trading and you use crypto, this comes in very handy because once again, it's outside the United States. It comes in very handy. I do the same, but with Robinhood Gold credit card. Get 3% back on every purchase at the end of the month. Yeah, this is not the credit card. And there's not any cash back currently that I know about. No, but they're doing big things. They're doing big things. Like I said, they got off maintenance on the app. Now it's full blown. It's just people going crazy. I have like so many pictures and updates. It's out of control. Let me see if I can show you guys anything. See, like, let me show you. Like, look, this is what's on the. Here goes some people. Somebody has a metal card. The black card's the metal card, and then people have card like I do. The plastic card, right? And they have a MasterCard as well. Let me see what else we got going on. Look, you got some more people with cards. Crazy. Right? Some more people. Cards. Happy. Happy go lucky. The reason I get these is because the group does this. Look at this. This guy gets 2 cards. Look at this. You got the metal card and the plastic card. The plastic card is tapped. The metal card is not. Another happy guy. Look, he got a metal card. Ting, 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 right? The black card's the metal card all the time. Then they have going around like, this is insane. It's going all over the place. Look, they're doing even this, July 14th. Look at this. They're going to be in some Vapor Cafe. Where is this? Durban. Whoa, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Durban. They're all over the place. Look at this. South Africa, Top Chef, VIP or something. Look at this. They're going worldwide. because this now unlocks worldwide banking because people who don't have banking can use this. Here it is again, July 15th. So there it is in Durban. Nobody is going to see this that's going to be in Durban. So just saying, you're probably not going to see this because we don't get worldwide coverage. Unless you're listening on the podcast where they can't stop that. We get worldwide coverage there. Let's see. Oh, here's some of the cards. Look at this. The one that looks like a soccer ball. The gold one. Look at that, $150. You can buy it right now. Look at this. Here goes one of the 250s. With the Statue of Liberty. Bring your huddled masses. Nelson Mandela even. Not bad, right? They're trying to do big things. They're making things happen. They're just making things happen. Let's see what else we got going on. I get so much. I mean, everybody's all happy about receiving their cards. So they post them up in the group, and it automatically comes to my phone. Because that's how I have my phone designed. Here's your 250s. Look at that. Plus some other stuff, right? Guys, 250s. Pretty good. I'm not mad at them. It's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this. This is how you expand. Give more product. Charge more money. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, the middle guy is the CEO. He's the CEO, middle guy. Alejo. Al Aarons is president. Charlie seems to be COO. Okay. And co-founder. So there you go. Those are the guys running it. Let's see. We got another guy. Loves the card too. Metal card. Another guy in the house. Yeah, I get everything, man. It's just an auto post to my account. Oh, they even have videos now? This is crazy. All right. Here we go. For everybody at Prime Towers, I got something for you. Larimar. Ownership. Check this out. I don't know if it... Hold on. Oh, yeah, you can see this. Hold on a second. Can you guys see this? These are the 2 bedrooms in Tower 4. Can you guys see that price at the bottom? Does that say $235? That's in Tower 4. That's behind Tower 1 and 2. Tower 1 and 2 has... People have ocean view. These guys might have partial, like on the side or something. But I don't know why. I don't know how they're getting 235. If they are, they are. That's the way it is. These things were 120, 118, 125. So that's not bad. Double your money. At least you possibly could get something out of it, right? That's not bad. That ends up being pretty good. And then I'll end this because I got more people post. Oh. This right here, I don't know what this is about, but I'll just show you. This is what I meant by expanding. It said global payment system, but I don't know what that means because your card has the Visa or MasterCard logo, so that means you can be banking anywhere. So that's what's going on with Bankers, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know. Mo Better, what's up, SSN Nation? What's up, E? We in the building from Mo Better. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live. Nice to see you, Mo. Very happy to see you in the house. Hopefully everything's been going well. So anyhow, Mo, we talking about ownership tonight. You got to own something. You got to own something. We're back to the countdowns. We were to the 3-year countdown is coming to an end in 5 months, 5.5 months. Coming to that countdown, December 31st, 775 credit score. Bank account outside of the United States. You got 2 options now. And real estate or business outside the United States. You want to be offshore, just like the wealthy. So you're not going to be putting yourself in a situation that you have to worry about if something happens with the banking system inside the United States. At least you have something outside of the U.S. banking system. That may come in handy. Just saying. You just never know. Just never, ever, ever know. Bugs be Vugs. Bug v. Bugs. You're awfully quiet. I've been waiting to hear from you. That'd be awesome. All right. I'm not going to leave a title. Let me see. Oh, got to have a title. Got to have a title. Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do this. Hold on. I got some new thing happening. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Let's see. Confirm. I wonder if this is going to work. Oh my, it does work. Wow. They got a new feature on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. So the live stream on there, I can actually leave a link to this live stream, which they're already live streaming, which kind of doesn't make any sense. But anybody that sees this can then click on it later and see the replay. I love it. A new feature. Have you guys noticed on all of your social media that they started adding more ads? Like 3/4 of the page down, they started adding ads. Again, they own the platform, own the software. Therefore, they can place ads anywhere on the screen at any time. That's what they're doing now. That generates more revenue, and or you can tell your advertisers we had per 1,000 impressions. You're obviously going to have more impressions when you have a skip ad. Then you have an ad that comes on the screen that somebody can also slide right or left or something and remove that. But now that adds is 2 impressions. Then you say we have something in the mid-roll. Then you have some at the end. So now you can say that's 4 impressions off of something that might have only been 30 seconds. Now you extrapolate that out to what if you have 1 million videos on your platform that you own, and that's the number. Let's just say that's the number. So that's 4 million impressions every 30 seconds, 15 seconds. You see where this goes? They get to charge for this. Ownership, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Mandatory. Asset classes that pay while you sleep, while you do nothing, literally, because you own it. Other people may work at the office, but at least you own it outright. You're not playing around up in here, all right? Okay, let's keep moving. Anybody want to talk about anything else? I'm going to end this. I've already been on, I don't know how long tonight. I'm moving all over the place. But, oh, yeah, hold on a second. We got something else to look at. The outlooks. Hold on. I went into, oh, wait, here goes something. Before I forget. Okay, you had to qualify. 2 ways to qualify. Sell 3, sell 5. They had some promotions I don't even know about. Let's see what this one is. Qualify for the Safari. Sell 3 metal cards, sell 5 plastic. What does that mean? Does that mean refer? Then you get in some sort of drawing? Okay. I'm not into all that, but it's all good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like I'm going to get something else going on. Hold on. I'm going to go back to, did I not, I went out of, okay, here we go. That bank by USDC Circle, that is crazy. Oh no. U.S. Treasury has borrowed $155 billion every month of the fiscal year. We're broke. They're borrowing oh my God, this is bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here you go. Here you go. Take your look. Things aren't going too well. Look. They are borrowing money and is now paying $24 billion a week in interest on its debts. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told you about this all along. This was going to happen. You can't keep doing this spending, spending, and spending. Are you kidding me right now? This can't be right. Oh my. For the fiscal year of 2026 so far, the federal deficit has totaled just under $1.4 trillion. You do understand that means you owe 4%. I have to get something to drink. Mo. Man, congratulations, man. Mo's sitting in the cut waiting. I like it. Very well done, Mo. Because now you have positioned yourself for 0% for up to 36 months, I believe, will be coming. It's July. So I did say originally August, September, somewhere in there. I can't believe what we're reading right now. You guys here in the SSN Nation, you guys are no dummies. You do understand they're borrowing money, meaning printing money, buying bond, and that means over 4% is owed. 1.4 trillion. Who's going to pay this? You know who's going to pay this, right? You are. And then your kids are. Then your grandkids are. They can never pay this back. It's not going to happen, but you know what is going to happen? They're not going to have jobs. They're not going to have the living of the life that you've led. This is not going to be a thing. There's no way. This is crushing the economy, crushing salaries, crushing businesses. There is no way this is going to happen. If you think things cost a lot now, when we talked about this before, I caught it this time. Okay, I see you. I see you, gatekeepers. I see how you are. They tried to shut it down. I just now realized I saw something. I see their little tricks. I saw something pop up. I was like, oh, they're going to try and shut this down. Are you getting any updates from Larimar now? I plan to go to Punta Cana next month to monitor our project closely. They send us weekly updates. They are all hands on deck to finish this year. Hey, man, I'm going to be shocked if they do. If they do, it's a rush job. But they do have 5 months left. But then again, the questions, okay, listen. Post-retirement travel and everybody that's purchased in the Dominican Republic, any condos, just remember something. So what happens normally is you can't get title to a project or to the building unless you have finished all units in the building. So just because somebody finishes all the units, that means nothing. They do not have the title because they have to subdivide each of the units. Right now, they have a parcel. They have a building plan. They built it. But now they have to have their meters in place for when they come to inspect. They got to make sure they have the amount of units in the buildings or buildings that they said they have. Then the department that's going to handle the subdividing of that parcel for those condos has to get the title to the person's name. So the question is, whose name is it going to be? So therefore, a lot of people in DR is going to find themselves just like at the beach and a lot of other places where they say, oh, we're closing, but we can't get you the title for 6 months to a year. But we want your money without a title. And of course, people who planned because they said, hey, it's going to be done December 2027 or 2026, they set up their plan. They started selling their property, or they put their stuff on a container to have it sent over there by November. And then they find out everything they've done, and they hear the words, "We won't have your title for a few months." And at first they always say 4, 5, 6 months. That's not going to happen. A year, maybe, if you're lucky. So a lot of people move into these condos, villas without title, and they take the unit, and at that point you're at the mercy of, is the title ever coming? Just saying. And by the way, for those of you who would get bank accounts, which would be smart, you don't have title, they can't give them the money, which actually works in your favor. Just saying. All right. No, they're not doing any of those weekly updates. That's never been a thing with Larimar. You know, they don't like to give people info because they like changing info. You know, and they don't want to upset potentially hundreds, or if not thousands, of buyers across all their units in Larimar to send them something saying, hey, we're not going to be able to deliver in December 2026 like we couldn't in September of 2025. They don't want people calling up, so they're never going to give updates. They'll give videos on Instagram, though, and pretend like that helps without answers. So we'll see what happens. And quite frankly, post-retirement travel, I think after all these years, it's probably costing them an arm and a leg that they have not been able to deliver. Mo Better says, PRT, what's up, buddy? Yeah, they're going to be, you know, they're going to be doing that. They're going to be doing that. That's crazy. Okay, post-retirement travel. No, not getting that. Okay, I missed that, so I had to come back. And relax, Eric, it's part of the plan. They go into a digital dollar. Mo, it's already digital. But it's not going to change anything. Either way, it's still the same game. They're going to print more coins, which now means, so here's the funny part. With paper, they could actually fudge the system. By adding additional coins, you are now diluting the coins. That is much more strict than paper, because paper is stored. It could be manipulated. This is going to be manipulated, except now you're going to add more coin to the number. That's inflationary. That's what's going to happen, and that's going to be very, very bad. So you see, if they go to a digital dollar, then the Federal Reserve has to operate differently, and there is no differently for them. They print money to help the United States stay ahead. This $155 billion per month, no, this is not time to relax. This is hardly time to relax. This is exactly what was going to happen, because this thing about spending money without having it, you have to print more. And by spending it, the money's gone. So when you print more, it doesn't go to anything other than to replace the money you spent that you don't have. That causes inflation. That's going to cause prices to even spike more. If people thought under 40-year-olds can't afford nothing, it's creeping up to 50-year-olds. It's going to creep up where you're going to have 90% of the population is screwed. And they're doing a wonderful job. Congratulations. Ownership, ladies and gentlemen, December 2027, mandatory. This is why, regardless of this, we already knew this was going to happen. And this is why your ownership is 1 year, 5 months. You guys need something. You better make it. Create a book. Do audiobooks. I got stories for days. I'm going to do audiobooks. I'm going to do all of it. You know why? Because I'm going to make money from some stuff that people aren't even going to believe. They'll think that it's made up. So it's going to be very interesting. And I have a lot of books because my friend's writing the first book of 3. I start in the second book that he's going to do. Me and him have stuff that people will not believe. That's going to be in his book. But of course, I have writer's credit. So again, ownership, ladies and gentlemen, that's mandatory. 2027 is the deadline, December 31st, because you can see what these guys are doing. This is going to escalate, by the way. So if you think about this, you spent, let's just use a simple example for OCs. If you spend $100,000 a month and it's at 4% annually, right? So you owe $4,000 a year from now, which makes it around $350 a month. But now you keep doing it and you do it 7 months in a row. So 7 times 3 now gets us over 21, so around $2,500 in interest only. And you still owe now $700,000. Who's going to pay that back when you don't have the money to pay it back in the first place? Something's going to break. And that means it's going to break on the OC's head. Ordinary citizens, you're in trouble. If you don't have any way to increase your money, you're screwed. That's what's happening right now. You're moving past the average, let's say the average wage in America is $50,000 after tax. You're moved past that. The average wage now has to be over 6 figures because of inflation and because of the IOU, and they're adding it on your heads every month like a drunken sailor, which hashtag we told you so. But that's how it is. But we know what we're going to be doing: buying, getting, ownership. I think they're going to keep printing money until they go to the social dollar by next year. That would be bad. That will wipe out a chunk of the debt. It's not wiping out no debt. First of all, it's not that simple. I don't know what people are saying about this. It's not that simple. First of all, the value of any currency or dollar is based on perceived value by not the U.S. customer, the outside world. So if the outside world stops using your currency devalues. That does not devalue your debt. Your debt is owed to people who bought the bonds, trillions of dollars worth of bonds that you, the American people, owe 4.3%, 4.5%, 4.7%. There's no way to pay it back. That means you're in default mode. If they hit the default button, that now changes their banking, the USA banks. That changes how you can get loans from around the world, because apparently a broke country is going to need loans. And then it'll be just like US banks and Trump. We ain't giving you loans. We ain't giving you no money. In fact, your currency against our currency is 5-1. And you're the world currency. And then they're going to be looking for another world currency. And next up, they're going to have to hold their noses. Next up, China. Because a funny thing, I think China only has one military base. They're not spending trillions of dollars on military. They're not spending trillions of dollars on printing up money like the U.S., because the U.S. has world currency. They do not. But China prints money too. They've learned from the U.S. so well and the U.K. so well. But they're just waiting their turn, because sooner or later it has to be them up next. They're the only other economy that even ranks anywhere near the United States. But they don't have the SWIFT network. But again, if you go to the digital dollar, do you need a SWIFT network? No, you don't. There comes the problem. Putting yourself right into the box that takes you out the box. Go ahead. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are already going to be prepared. You're going to have assets. You're going to have ownership. It's not going to matter to you if somebody uses crypto or the yuan or Japanese yen, you're not going to care because it does not matter at that point. You have money coming in, and it ain't going to be some 10 to 1 money. See, that's where this is going. All right. I guess I'm not going to retire because I have a calling to do. Starting to do some things next week. It's going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to know if we're going to jump this off into the stratosphere because I'll be right where I need to be to talk to people in the face. And we'll see if we can settle into some nice little agreement or not. But again, the posture is if you own something, you can make demands. If I'm bringing money to you, then I have to make demands. That's going to be beneficial for me. Why would I not? Why, you're going to charge me? I'm bringing you customers 4 days a week and advertising possibilities 4 days a week. I don't think I need to be charged. I'm promoting your stuff for free, well, not free, for an exchange of services. And it's beyond your local market. You know how much that's worth? And other people are going to want to come here and use your facilities because we have, and they see how cool this production is. This is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, digital dollar, not social dollar. We're going to go, we're going to go to the digital. Yeah, it doesn't matter if we go there or not. It's still going to be valued based on, if you're 1-to-1, that's one thing. But if you're 5-to-1, that's inflationary. And quite frankly, you would have to be a dumbass to be a country and buy crypto. You would still go, where's our bonds? Because that's the only way you're going to get money back. So I don't know how that would work, but all I'm saying is going down this path puts us in a very, very precarious. We already know it's going to blow up, so it doesn't really matter. This is why you need your ownership, ladies and gentlemen, like ASAP. Don't mess around. Don't mess around. U.S. debt is not tied to crypto. Well, if you're going to go digital dollar, it's going to be, because otherwise you're using inflated money to buy crypto. So that means you're going to inflate crypto automatically. Either you can't get around it. If you're trying to say you're going to decouple it, then that means crypto's not backed by anything, just like the dollar's not backed. The dollar's only backed because the United States pays the 4%, 4.3, whatever percent it is, to these other countries. We haven't defaulted officially yet. So the fact that we haven't defaulted is the only reason. But if you start trying to say that you're going to use some of these crypto monies to pay something, you're getting in a bad position, because now the rest of the world who's making investments are going to be like, wait, how are you paying your debt with fake coins? Made up coins, as far as we know. We're not accepting that. So we need US dollars. We're not accepting the coins. Or maybe they will say we'll accept the coins, but I doubt it. I don't know why they would. That would be stupid, because they have world currency. So I wouldn't accept some off random coins. That's crazy. But it's going to be, if they're going to go digital, like FedNow trying to do their BS. But we'll see how this all turns out. What's going on, Mo? How's New York? How are those free buses going? Free buses? What is PRT? Don't get me started on that idiot. Oh, an idiot. I hear free grocery stores. I hear dudes trying to do something. PRT, no free buses, rent freezes on rent stabilized buildings, taxes on the rich that ultimately become taxes on the middle class and poor, because all the rich are moving to Florida and Texas. Shaking my head. Mo, stop the exaggerations. Them assholes ain't moving nowhere. This cracks me up. They're moving to Florida and Texas to avoid taxes. They still have their premium villas, condos, townhouses. They're not giving those up because they can't get that type of investment return in Texas or Florida unless they try to think about Miami. Let's get real. Stop playing out here. You know what the rich guys are doing. That's why they buy in California. That's why they buy in New York City. They know if they buy something for $10 million now, 5 years from now, because there's not that many pieces of these properties on the market, it's going to be worth another $5 to $10 million. Let's get real. They're moving so they can avoid taxes just like any common sense person would do. Now, if you want to pay the luxury tax by living in New York City, so be it. They have the money. Just like they have the money to live in Cali. So be it. But you could be like Elon and say, my residency is in Texas now, and pay no taxes and burden the state and the county for their free land they gave Elon, and tax exemption for a few years and subsidies. And now their business is not contributing anything to the economy, and the citizens have to pay for it. I mean, it wouldn't be all bad, would it? I'm just laughing because it's funny. You could see this coming from a mile away. All right. But no, they're moving to Florida and Texas because of the cash. That's it. There ain't nothing else happening. You don't own anything when it comes to real estate. That is very true. It's always a liability. What have I told you guys? They can and will take it from you whenever they want. That is very true. Very, very true. That's why I don't count it as an asset. It's a liability. The only way you can turn it into an asset, it has to be commercial. And even then, eminent domain for some of us, yeah, I know a lot of you wouldn't know unless you know people of color. Yeah, eminent domain by cities and counties where they just say, oh, yeah, we'll pay you half price. Otherwise, we'll take it. And then they build something awfully nice from some rich guy, right? Because it's prime. Yeah, real estate's very interesting in America. Now it's weaponized, trying to keep the OCs from being able to make money like their grandparents and their parents were able to buy homes for 30, 40 grand, and now they're worth 400,000, 500,000 or $1 million, depending on which state you live in. You're not going to have that luxury, ladies and gentlemen. Because first of all, the average age right now, median age for first-time buyers is 40. So if you bought a home in 2005, 20 years later, how much is it worth? So you bought a home in 2005 for 300,000, 200,000. It's worth what? 800,000, 700, 600, 500. Great. This is probably going to be the last time you're going to be able to make a significant amount, if it's called make. But you guys know, we went over this several times. When you have a mortgage on a house, I'll use 500. Let's see, 500,000 at 5%. And after you have to pay your taxes and insurance, you're going to be at around, what, 4 grand? Somewhere like that, probably. That's 50 G's a year. So 50 G's a year times 20. Please, somebody tell me. You do understand that's $1 million. So my house better be worth more than $1 million in 20 years. I paid it. Some people are going to go, Eric, I paid down. I know, but the problem is I paid $1 million. So just because my house is now worth $1 million doesn't really do me much good, and I still owe 10 years left of a mortgage. So my house better be worth more than $1 million. But some people would say, okay, Eric, forget all that. I paid $1 million, but I'm about to sell the house. Well, that's my whole point. You've paid $1 million plus. So your house better be worth $1.2 million, $1.3 million just to break even. $1.7 million or $1.8 million would be nice. So you can make 300, 400 G's. But okay, again, it's always been a liability. It's just now becoming unattainable liability because insurance is raising up every year, property taxes, which is unrealized capital gains, by the way. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you do realize your property taxes are unrealized capital gains. You could have bought a house 20 years ago. Your property taxes were maybe 2,000, 1,500 a year. But because over that time your house went up in value to five, $600,000, now you're paying 6 or 7 grand a year, but you didn't sell your house. It's kind of like the stock market. You bought the stock, but you didn't sell your house. But we're not taxing those guys unrealized capital gains taxes, are we? They're not paying no tax on unrealized because the stocks can go up or they can go down, right? So can your house. But the fact is, ordinary citizens are going to pay unrealized gains. And by the way, there's more of the ordinary citizens, which the offset is weird. So why wouldn't I tax the 35 million richest dudes on the United States planet here in the US that's a US citizen? Why would I not tax those 35 million, that those 35 million pay their fair share and they cover everything just by them alone? And then we can move on where the OCs don't have to pay their fair share and their own and have 155. Let me look at this again. This can't be right. Does this really say this? This can't be right.
Where's the music?
It says it again. 155 billion. What?
The Mucinex pills.
Oh,
I can't find them.
in the black suitcase on the floor in the top pouch.
With your Santa Claus hat?
No, in on the outside. On the outside. All right. Okay.
Are you getting much longer?
No. 155 billion, ladies and gentlemen. Every month, that's what they're spending, even though we have a deficit. So much for paying attention. Post-retirement travel, let's go. Mo, you can always come down to the free state of Florida. We're allowed to multiple properties down here. Our sheriff doesn't play here. Multiple properties. I don't understand. What do you mean multiple? You can always have multiple properties. Okay, I might have to just do Mo. Oh no, no. I want Mo to move to Florida. Eric, check the news. Billionaires are leaving. Again, I don't really care what you need to clarify what leaving means. Because I mean, do you mean like Trump left to Florida, but still owns Trump Towers and New York City properties still? That's not quite leaving in my book. So we'll see. Who should I put down? Billion. Oh, hey, by the way, just so everybody understands, you guys realize there's only like a little under 3,000 billionaires on the planet. That's it. 3,000. But you do realize they own more than 50% of the wealth on the planet, though, right? Just saying. Do you really think they're going to care? But we'll find out. I mean, they're not caring that much. Leaving. Why don't I put it in since we have Google? How many? I mean, how would we know anyhow? I mean, really. New York has seen a drop of about 10 billionaires. Okay. And a heavy loss in its share of nationwide millionaires, down to 8.7%. Most of this wealth is relocating to zero income tax states like Florida and Texas. Imagine that. Imagine that. They get to go hang out in the free state of Florida. Oh, this ought to be very, very interesting. This is going to be great. Let's go see. Tax avoidance. Of course, they don't like paying. We got to pay their fair share. It's just beautiful. Policy changes, business relocation, companies like oh, Jesus. Apollo Global Management, them assholes, are moving hubs to. Oh, yeah. Two of my favorite companies. Congratulations, Florida. Lost revenue. State data shows a loss of over 13 billion in potential. Wait. What's this potential? Tax revenue from departing high-income households. Economic shift. New York slipped from second to fourth place for states with the most millionaires. Oh my, what a shame. While the ultra wealthy are leaving to lower their tax bills, many professionals earning six figures are staying put, meaning the city is not losing all of its high income base. Of course not. Of course not. This is not how it works. They can move to Florida, but here's the thing, your residency is going to be in Florida and Texas now. Nice. Cool. So yeah, they're top four now. So how cool is that? That's what happens when you increase the tax on the rich who already pay 40% to 60% of taxes in New York City. They then tax middle class and poor even more. How do they tax middle class and poor even more? What do you mean? You're already being taxed more because you subsidize the rich not paying their taxes, giving them free land, giving them tax cuts and tax breaks for 20 years. I mean, come on, man. Stop. 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 Once middle class start feeling it, that's when politicians get voted out. Socialism never worked anywhere. It's not socialism. You do realize you pay taxes for the fire department, the schools, public libraries. Come on. This is not, don't be melodramatic. This is not even how it works. All I'm saying is, how about the businesses that these guys own pay their taxes? How about you do understand the middle class is paying their taxes when they don't have to pay state tax for their businesses that make hundreds of millions of dollars? You do understand when they get free tax breaks for 20 years that who subsidize them is the middle class? I'm not following. Just like what's happening right now with data centers, where people's energy bills, they're subsidizing the data centers' energy bills. That's what they're doing in New York. That's what they do in New Jersey. This is what they do in Cali. This is what they do in every state, trying to win these contracts for the businesses. So the middle class taxpayer are paying their fair share while these guys get to run around and pay zero taxes federally and in the state. And you tell me that you're worried about the middle class paying. This is crazy talk. This is crazy right now. Come on, stop. You might as well just rock with those guys. Go down to Florida, man, just like them. Be a resident of Florida. Give up your residency in New York. Go down there and hang out, man. I'm sure you'll find a job down there. No problem. Maybe you'll be working for Apollo Management and Citadel in Texas or Florida, where they don't pay people the same amount as they pay them in New York. But the cost of living is a little bit lower. A little bit now. By the way, just so you understand about Florida, they have a lot of homes for sale right now. A lot. Just so you know. A lot. Mo, communism, you don't understand. Communism is when your government buys into corporations. You know, like what Trump's doing. He's getting parts of corporations. That's communism, by the way. I'm just saying. Apparently, it's okay. I don't think so. I'm not for communism. I don't think government like China should own any pieces of corporations. That's communism, by the way. Just saying. Socialism is a whole nother animal. Democratic socialism is when people are supposed to pay their fair share of taxes regardless of what income status they have. That would mean you don't do tax cuts and tax breaks. That means you start a business, you have to foot the bill, you take the risk, you keep all the rewards. Unlike in America, where they get free tax cut, tax break subsidies, and the general public, the taxpayers, receive nothing for taxpayers paying their tax bills. That is communism. That is also socialism, wrapped up as democracy. So that's how this works. This is why the country's going down, by the way. Just saying. And this is why the middle class grew when it was between 1950s and 1970s, because they taxed the corporations 50, 60, 70%. Why? Because they got tax cuts and tax breaks based on how well their employees were doing. So you don't want to have well-paying jobs. You don't want to have people getting pensions. You don't want none of that. Fine. 70%. But if you want to have that, yeah, we might lower it a little bit for you. Because you're helping community. You're helping the OCs. You're helping grow the nation. Until they changed it. And you can already know what's going to go down. 40 trillion in debt. 25% of the 40 trillion by the Trump administration. Not good. And that doesn't even count the spending of $155 billion per month. So that looks like we're going to be at $2+ trillion this year of spending that the United States does not have. So who's going to have to pay this back? It won't be the rich guys, will it? Unless something changes. So therefore, who's it going to fall on? Mo, as you've said, middle class, ordinary citizens are going to have to cover the bill. So do you really think we should care about them leaving to move to Texas? A few of them. There's only 3,000 billionaires on the planet, including billionaires and millionaires. There's only 64, 65 million in the world. That's it. But you know what? Those guys own more than 50% of the wealth, more than 4 billion people on the planet. So take your pick how you want to handle it. But allowing all of the stuff, all the assets that these guys own, more than 4 billion people on the planet, not be taxed is ludicrous. So wherever they move to, wherever they live, does it really matter? They're not paying the tax anyhow. Some are, some aren't. But all of them should be paying the same tax that you and I pay. The same challenges we have when we start a business, they should have. Nobody here should be living under socialism for some, communism for others, meaning your government is backing you, runs press conferences and says, oh, you know, NVIDIA's good, you should buy it. Oh, you know, Dell, you should buy it. And meanwhile, he's buying it for himself, his family, and the government. That's communism with corruption. And you sitting here like, it's all good. It ain't going to be all good for the OCs. It's already happening. So if you think 40 years medium age to buy a house is good, wait till a couple more years when nobody's going to be able to buy a house, because you're not going to be able to pay the insurance nor the property taxes, because they're going to have to increase those, because, you know, all the billionaires, they got to move to places that have no taxes. This ought to be interesting. This is crazy right now. I hate talking about this. I start going off. It's 2 hours and 9 minutes. So once again, I'm going to end this, ladies and gentlemen. Ownership 2027. That's what's going down right now. That's what you're going to have to do. There's only one way to make sure that you're going to be safe and your family's going to be safe, and get on it now. Once again, the project we're doing, It's going to go down, and it's going to be full on ownership. I can only tell you after it occurs, because this time I'm dealing with these assholes that want to not get their asses beat. Traditionally, you know, they have to be in denial. Oh, they stole my stuff. Oh, let's send them some cease and desist. Oh, no, it can't be right. They can't be kicking our ass. Not these guys can't be doing this. Oh, yeah, those guys are like that. They're little sissies. They just don't like getting beat. So they'll do anything to lie, cheat, steal, do everything they can. So, we're ready. So all I can say is, I'll see you guys on Monday night. The Money Making Monday live stream with Ownership 2027, December 31st, 2027 in your sights. But you better start wrapping it up, trying to figure out all these assets that you have. Think about it, because otherwise you're going to get left behind. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys on the other side. And I appreciate you all being here, including Ame Home, number 2 in the house. I see you. Thank you so much for being here and listening to a little bit of rant this evening, and I appreciate it. But just remember one thing. I love you guys very much. I appreciate your support over all these years, and it looks like we're going to find out what's going to happen. If I'm going to be right again, can this happen again in 1.5 years? Talking about ownership, you should have ownership, and we're going to be talking about how much ownership did you get? Because it's going to be all over but the shouting by then. If you're already having to spend $2 billion, I mean, yeah, it's going to be 2.4 trillion in spending, and then you're going to have a deficit run. Ugh, this is going to cost a lot of lives, because people aren't going to be able to afford this, and they're not going to be able to afford their health care either. This is going to be very bad for Americans. In case you just got here late, I'll say this again. There's 32 NATO countries. 31 of the NATO countries have universal health care. Guess which one does it, American citizens? You're the only one. So all this balabahoo that somebody says you guys need to spend more money, they're laughing all the way to the bank going, well, see, we help our citizens. We're not stupid enough to spend trillions of dollars without high-speed rail, without making sure our citizens are healthy and they can actually be there to work their jobs. Oh, no. And make them have medical debt that they know they can't pay, ruin their credit, so therefore they're going to do what after that? Can't get credit, can't get a job, sick. I guess homeless is next. Congratulations. All right. Don't be one of the statistics if you can avoid it, ladies and gentlemen, which I know you can't, because if you don't own anything, you don't own your business, you're not even in the top dog, they might fire you because your salary's too high. Either way, you're going to be in trouble, no matter who you are in America, no matter where the billionaires live or millionaires live or don't. As long as they don't want to tax them their same tax rate as us, same tax rate as businesses that they should never pay 0% taxes, good luck, because somebody has to foot that 0% of taxes bill. And guess who it falls on? Taxpayers of the United States. And oh, by the way, Israel has free health care too for their citizens that we sent money to for them. Enough. All right, I'm out. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know I'm on one a little bit. I lasted a little bit too long, but thank you so much for being here. And again, it's not safe out here. You just never know what's going to happen. A lot of people are stressed out. I saw a video just today where a guy was in a restaurant eating, and all of a sudden he just started picking up the tables, smashing the restaurant. And I'm like, what the heck? He's not even in an altercation. He just starts smashing up the restaurant like he's on a mental death wish or something. It was wild. I'm like, this is what I'm expecting, because people are stressed out, as we figured. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you do, you got to stay calm. You got to de-escalate. You have to make sure that you make it home safe. And all I can say after that, just make sure you keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.